Hello and warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Police station in Mumbai has registered a Zero FIR on Monday against stand-up comedian Kunal Kamra for cracking an allegedly objectionable joke on Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde during a stand-up comedy show. Now, Kamra called Eknath Shinde a traitor in his parody, after which Shiv Sainiks, and obviously from the Shinde group, they vandalized the studio at Mumbai's Khar area. But now the question is that will Kamra be jailed for making a comment like this? Was this such a big offense? Is this a big setback to the world of comedy and humor? Because Kunal Kamra, just a few hours back, his office had posted that temporarily they have suspended the work, and probably for some time they will not be shooting. So we'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is a very special panel with us today, Rajiv Nigam, who's a household name in the world of comedy and humor. Thank you so much, Rajiv Nigam, for joining on. We have Professor Ajay Gudavarti from Jawaharlal Nehru University, author and academician. Thank you so much, Ajay, for joining. We have Pushparaj Deshpande, who's the author of the book called Bharat Jodo Yatra, also works very closely with the India Alliance. Thank you so much, Pushparaj, for joining. And I'll begin with Rajiv. Rajiv, what do you really have to say about this incident on Kunal Kamra? What has really triggered this kind of an anger against Kunal Kamra? And did he really say something which he should not have? क्या उन्होंने कुछ ऐसा कहा जो उनको नहीं कहना चाहिए था? जी राजीव।
उनका 1 घंटे का शो था, उसमें शायद मे बी एक सिंगल वर्ड है, बाकी आप पूरा शो देखिए, आप एंजॉय करिए, और बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म किया उन्होंने। तो मैं पहले भी बोल चुका हूं कि कुणाल कामरा से उनको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, इशू नहीं है। उन्हें तलाश थी एक ऐसे किसी मुद्दे की जो कुणाल कामरा की वजह से मिल गई या कहीं और से मिल जाती उनको, क्योंकि उनका जो ग्राफ है, पॉलिटिकल ग्राफ जो है, वो पिछले काफ़ी समय से डाउन नीचे की तरफ जा रहा था। तो उनके लोग लगे हुए थे कि कहीं से कुछ तो ढूंढ के लाओ। तो यहाँ पर कुणाल कामरा का अच्छा सुनाओ, अच्छा ये ऐसा, इसको पकड़ के तुरंत जो है वहाँ पर इतने लोग भेजो, ये तोड़ो फोड़ो और ये ट्विटर पे डालो, ये न्यूज़ मीडिया, तो पूरा सारा मामला ग्रैब हो गया। और शिंदे साहब जो डिप्टी सीएम बनने के बाद से कहीं नहीं दिख रहे थे, वो टीवी पर फिर से दिखने लगे।
Okay, so I'm just interrupting you because this is our English audience. So what Rajiv Nigam is saying that all this while Eknath Shinde was not in the limelight, so he found this opportunity on which he grabbed and he made Kunal Kamra a scapegoat. But then again, he's back in the news. Yes, Rajiv ji, बोलिए, आगे बोलिए. Sorry.
तो मैं समझता हूं कि इसको सोसाइटी को, समाज को, लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करने का प्रयास इन लोगों की तरफ से किया जा रहा है, क्योंकि ऐसी कोई बात नहीं थी। आप सत्ता में हैं, आप पावर में हैं, आप लोकतंत्र के हिसाब से चलते। अगर आपको कोई चीज़ बुरी लगी है, गलत लगी है, तो उसको आप कंप्लेन करते और उसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन होता। उसका जो आप सत्ता में रह करके पुलिस को सामने खड़ा करके आप स्टूडियो तोड़ रहे हैं, फोड़ रहे हैं, और आप लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की भी बात करते हैं। तो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर आपके हाथ में है और आप ही लॉ एंड ऑर्डर ब्रेक कर रहे हैं। तो ये तो बात मुझे समझ में नहीं आती है। कुणाल कामरा ने क्या कहा वो तो बहुत पीछे की बात है, उसको तो आप छोड़ दीजिए। आप पावर में रह करके और इस तरीके से सोसाइटी में, समाज में, स्टूडियो में आप दंगाइयों को, गुंडों को भेज करके आप इस तरीके से तोड़ फोड़ करवा रहे हैं। सबसे बड़ा विषय तो ये होना चाहिए।
So, do you think राजीव जी कि ये बहुत बड़ा सेटबैक है और कॉमेडी और ह्यूमर की दुनिया के लिए, क्योंकि अब बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियंस है, वो 10 बार सोचेंगे कि उनको स्टूडियो में जाना चाहिए या नहीं जाना चाहिए शूट करने के लिए, या फिर कुछ और ऑल्टरनेटिव्स ढूंढेंगे?
नहीं, बिल्कुल सही बात है। अब वहां पर डरा धमका दिया, इतना ये कर दिया, तो हर एक न्यू कमर जो भी नए नए कॉमेडियंस हैं उनके अंदर एक डर बैठ गया है, दहशत बैठ गई है। और वो डर और दहशत वो थॉट लेवल पे है कि वो कंटेंट जो नया क्रिएट करते थे बेखौफ हो करके, तो आप वो कंटेंट नहीं क्रिएट कर पाएंगे। तो इन्होंने हमेशा से ऐसी जगह पे वार किया है कि जहां से लोग सोचना बंद कर दें। एजुकेशन पे वार किया है इन्होंने, हमेशा से शिक्षा पे वार किया है ना। तो जब लोग अच्छे वो उस लेवल के थॉट नहीं सोचेंगे, डर की वजह से परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाएंगे, तो ये थॉट धीरे धीरे कम होता जाएगा। तो कहीं ना कहीं तो ये देश का लॉस है, क्योंकि ये कॉमेडी, ये सटायर, ये ह्यूमर देश के लोकतंत्र को कहीं ना कहीं मजबूती देता है ये। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि ये देश के लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करने का प्रयास है। इससे पहले बहुत सारे लोगों ने देश में लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करने के बारे में चिंता जताई थी, जो कि ऐसे वाया वाया आपको दिख भी रहा है। लोकतंत्र को एक ऐसी चीज नहीं जो आपको डायरेक्ट दिख जाएगी, ये ऐसे वाया वाया कमजोर किया जा रहा है।
बट राजीव जी, आपको क्या हाल में कभी आप भी जब अपनी लाइंस को लिख रहे थे या बोल रहे थे तो आपको डर लगा? जरा उन लाइंस को भी आप हमें सुना के बताएं कि आपको क्या डर लगा। आप ऐसी कौन सी लाइंस लिख रहे थे जिस समय आपने सोचा कि अरे भाई ये मैं बोल दूंगा तो मेरा पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा? कुछ उसका एक एग्जाम्पल अगर आप दर्शकों के लिए प्रस्तुत कर सकें। जी
देखिए, अभी मैं बता रहा हूँ कि जो भी कंटेम्प्रेरी इश्यूज होते हैं हम लोग उसके ऊपर बात करते हैं, है ना। और कुछ बातें होती है, कंटेम्प्रेरी इश्यूज होते हैं, कुछ उसमें थोड़े से कॉमिक टाइमिंग के लिए हमें कुछ ना कुछ वर्ड को भी कहीं ना कहीं सेट करना पड़ता है, कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ता है। तो जैसे हम बात करते हैं कि अभी हमारी सुनीता विलियम्स स्पेस से इतने दिनों बाद वापस आई, तो उन्होंने 1 साल जो वहां पे रुकी, 9 महीने, तो देश और दुनिया में बात हो रही उनके सब्र की, कि उन्होंने 9 महीने कैसे सब्र किया, और हमारे यहाँ बात हो रही कब्र की। तो मैं तो कहता हूं कि ये जो अमेरिका वाले लोग हैं ना, ये सब हवाई लोग हैं, हवाई ऊपर की स्पेस की वहां की बातें करते हैं। हम लोग जमीन से जुड़े हुए लोग हैं। जमीन को खोदेंगे, खोद के निकाल लाएंगे। तो वो खोज के ला रहे हैं, हम खोद के ला रहे हैं। उनके पास नासा है, हमारे पास सत्यानाशा है। ये तो हम लोग बहुत सारी चीजों पे ध्यान नहीं देते मैडम। जिस दिन वो स्पेस में फंसी थी, हमारे यहाँ भी ये लोग रैली वैली में चुनाव में फंसे थे। अगर फंसे ना होते इन चीजों में, तो मैं आपको बता रहा हूं विद इन 24 आवर सुनीता विलियम्स को ऊपर से नीचे ले आते और लाने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती। हमारे देश के 125 करोड़ लोगों के हाथ में थाली दे करके बोलते बजाओ, टन टन टन। इतनी आवाज सुनकर के ऊपर से सुनीता विलियम्स खुद टपक पड़ती नीचे। तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि मैं सुनीता विलियम्स को तो मैं कुछ नहीं बोल रहा हूं गलत, मैं स्पेस को, नासा को या किसी को कुछ नहीं, ये हमारा जोक है, ये हमारा ऑब्जर्वेशन है, ये हमारी टाइमिंग है, ये लोगों को हंसाने के लिए। अब इसमें से भी कोई अगर कुछ निकाल ले कि तुमने उनकी इंसल्ट कर दी उनकी, तो हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं? अब इसके बाद कैसे हंसाएं?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल नहीं, चैलेंज तो बहुत बड़ा है एंड देयर आर मेनी चैलेंजेस एंड द अदर गेस्ट। और राजीव जी, मैं आपके पास फिर से वापस आऊंगी और आपसे कुछ और एक आध जोक सुनूंगी एंड आई कम टू प्रोफेसर गुडावर्दी। How do you really make of this Kunal Kamra's incident? Now, is this a symptom of a very large problem which the country is facing? I mean, be it journalists, be it stand-up comedians, wherever you ask questions from the ruling dispensation, the things become difficult and they reach a stage like this. Yes, Ajay.
Yeah, I think this is very clear, Nilo, that I know, as Rajiv ji also said, that there's a wholesome attack on education institutions, on journalists, on lawyers, on political opposition, on opposition leaders. So nobody is finally spared. You keep changing the goalposts. One day you say it is anti-Hindu, someday you say it's anti-national, someday you say it's urban Naxal. But the point really is that this is taking birth from a majoritarian psyche, that there are first class citizens, there are second class citizens. This division begins by outlying and outcasting religious minorities and Muslims, but it does not stop there. Then it becomes your opposition, then it becomes all those who are critical are second-class citizens. Because even in this, if they're really talking about certain cultural standard, then they themselves should maintain that cultural standard. But you see from Prime Minister Modi, his utterances against Rahul, against Sonia Gandhi, against opposition leaders, while campaigning in Karnataka, he says that Congress is trying to secede Karnataka from in India. In Gujarat, he says Manmohan Singh has taken Supari from the other side to get him assassinated. I mean, all kinds of atrocious things are being said, but which are perfectly okay. Which only means to say that they reserve the right to speak, and rest are supposed to be mute. This is the logic of this majoritarian order, that they will reserve the right to get hurt. Others should get reserve the right to stay strong. That they get hurt, their religious sentiments get hurt, their political sentiment gets hurt, and then they give the logic that one of the logic that Mr. Fadnavis gave was that Kunal Kamra should remember we are an elected government. So why are they critiquing Mr. Nehru? Nehru won a thumping 3-time majority, so he shouldn't be criticized. Rajiv Gandhi won an unprecedented 400 seats, so he shouldn't be criticized by the same logic. But no, you will demean them, not only criticize. I mean, criticism is still welcome in democracy. Nobody is above criticism. But you lampoon them, castigate them, use very vulgar phrases against them in the name of democracy. When you are attacked, democracy is gone. When others are attacked, I mean, this whole illogic thing that they are building, and which is basically shedding all our critical sensibilities. And this is going to lead to kind of an oligarchy where you have a network of the rich who can speak, who can get away with murder, but common people will have no voice. The common people, even if they make pedestrian everyday observations which are critical of the government, without this, where does democracy end up? And on this note, I would also like to say that this kind of behavior of Shiv Sena today, look at the irony of the situation, that he is being called a traitor for betraying Mr. Bal Thackeray. But these methods, extrajudicial methods, have been taught to Mumbai by Mr. Bal Thackeray. He was the one who said that, even if small statement against him, he can bring Mumbai to, stand still. He would encourage his Shiv Sainiks to go and invade the cricket pitch. So these same methods today by his Shishya are being used against his own party members. So you can see that how things come full circle. That if you begin to legitimize what I call righteous lawlessness, nobody is outside this fight. It's only matter of time that we all get caught, one by one under some pretext or the other. The point is, there is law in this country. There is rule of law. There are constitutional provisions. If you're offended, there is defamation. You go and file a defamation in the courts and let the law take its course. But people holding constitutional positions themselves begin to use the language of history cheaters and say that we will do this Shiv Sena treatment we will give. I mean, this is completely unacceptable.
Right. So I'll come to Pushpraj now. That the very idea of freedom of expression, is it very selective about as far as the ruling dispensation is concerned? What is their idea of the freedom of expression? Because I heard a lot of people on the social media saying that Kunal Kamra's statement is just not acceptable, and it has to be a constructive criticism. Now, what is that constructive criticism which they are trying to tell?
A very good evening, Niluji, to you, our panelists and our viewers. Firstly, Niluji, and I'm being facetious here, I think both Aurangzeb and Tipu Sultan can rest a bit because the Sangh Parivar is clearly busier with Kunal Kamra for the next few days. But jokes apart, just a few days ago, Prime Minister Modi in a podcast with Lex Friedman said that criticism is the soul of democracy. Yet forget tolerating criticism or even being held accountable. In Modi ji's New India, his double-engine governments are bulldozing jokes and anyone who speaks truth to power, even if it's at satire. Now, let's for a moment forget or ignore that mature political leaders, I'm hoping Shindeji watches this, mature political leaders should ideally take criticism and satire in their stride and course correct. Let's forget Voltaire's idea also, that I disagree with what you say, but I will defend to my death your right to say it. Let us only dissect what has happened. A comedian cracked a joke. If the Shinde faction felt that the joke was derogatory or defamatory, they could have filed an FIR and operated within the confines of the law. Now, that's what we expect from a party in government, since it is constitutionally obligated to follow as well as uphold the rule of law. Now, instead of that, the Shinde faction violated the law and vandalized venues and hotels. Now that's one problem. The second problem, I mean, this is really ironic that the vandals who destroyed the Habitat Mumbai venue, as the police idly stood by, are the ones who filed the FIR against Kamra and faced nothing more than a loving pat on the cheek by the police. Oh, no, so sad. Don't worry. We'll leave you out immediately. Now, the third problem is that the chief minister, Fadnavis, who's also holding the home department, he's saying that his government will penalize Kunal Kamra. Now, keeping aside the fact that the chief minister clearly doesn't know Article 19 of India's constitution or the number of Supreme Court judgments on it, consider these, Niluji. There have been 210 cases of hate speech in Maharashtra just last year. Just a week ago, there were riots in Nagpur. A couple of weeks ago, a BJP minister harassed a woman and then jailed her when she complained. Then another minister's aide killed a sarpanch in Bid, in Marathwada. Instead of addressing or redressing these egregious crimes, Chief Minister Fadnavis is focused on assuaging. It's nothing less than assuaging his alliance partners' hurt, pride, and ego. I mean, talk about misplaced priority. Secondly, what you asked about freedom of expression. Now, the BJP has always sacrificed freedom of expression and truth at the altar of its politics. And this has been the case for the last 11 years. Between 2018 and 2023, the BJP blocked 37,000 websites. It's actually 36,900 websites. In the same period, the BJP government blocked 13,660 posts, Twitter posts. Now, similarly, BJP cancelled Daniel Fernandez shows in Hyderabad. Then jailed, what's that guy's name? Munawar Farooqi for a joke he didn't even crack. And now they're vandalizing Kunal Kamra simply because their feelings got hurt. Now, in every case, the BJP proved to you and me that I might have freedom of speech. But after you make that speech, you will not have freedom. Time and again, the BJP proves that they will clamp down on anyone who's demanding accountability or speaking truth to power. And this is the last point, Niluji. What Kunal Kamra did was exceptionally brave. On Bhagat Singh Jayanti, he spoke about numerous glaring socio-economic and political problems facing India. He very nicely used satire to expose the BJP's absurdities, their contradictions, their injustices. You know why this is problematic for Prime Minister Modi and BJP and the Mahayuti? Because it dents their carefully curated image of invincibility. That's more than what half the legacy media does today. Frankly speaking, all of us, every conscientious Indian who believes in the constitutional idea of India, owes Kunal Kamra a salute for so courageously and defiantly pointing out that, Bhai Sahab, the emperor is naked. Now, even though Modi ji demands obedience, frankly speaking, for what it's worth, I hope all of you stand with Kunal Kamra. Back to you, Niluji.
Right. And now I'll come to Siddharth. Do you see this as an intimidatory tactics, Siddharth? That when you cannot win over people, you try and use these intimidatory tactics and try and quell their work, try and suppress what they are saying just because it doesn't suit you politically. So how do you see this concept? And then I'll come putting comments to Rajiv. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it as a very clear signal of BJP's weakness, because a show that was going on in Mumbai where the BJP is in power, if that show was violating any of the laws, the police could have walked in and stopped the show then and there. With the police there not stopping the show through police but doing vandalism clearly shows that BJP is on the back foot. It is nervous because the government which can't stand a joke itself becomes a joke. As a 21st century Chanakya very nicely said, "Aap chronology samajhiye." So what has essentially happened is that Grok, after coming in the last 3 weeks, has set the cat amongst the pigeons. Now the BJP's ecosystem has a problem. It cannot spit out lies, neither can it swallow the truth. So that they are stuck between these two. That is the cat amongst the pigeons. In Hindi में कहते हैं सांप छुछुंदर वाला खेल हो गया है. Now because Grok cannot be penalized, Grok cannot be put into jail. So chalo ठीक है, let us target a comedian. It's like if I can't beat Australia in Australia, let me go to Zimbabwe and beat them 5-0 and come back and say that I've beaten a cricket team. Now you asked a very pertinent question with Pushparaj, that we should understand what is exactly freedom of speech. Is hurting my feelings violation of your freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is very clear. It is freedom of expression. Expression is different from action. What Kunal Kamra was doing was clearly expression. There was no action involved. Once action is not involved, it is freedom of expression, period. Nobody can have any objection to it. And the most biggest beneficiary of this freedom of expression is BJP itself. When BJP says that Manmohan Singh raincoat पहनते थे, when BJP says हम कपड़ों से लोगों को पहचानेंगे, when BJP says गोली मारो गद्दारों को, in fact the word Gaddar has been coined by BJP's Anurag Thakur during the Delhi elections. So how can they take objection? Because it will be very nice, it will be very what do you say, paradoxical that if God forbid, if Kunal Kamra is arrested and the judge asks him, why did you use the word Gaddar? He will say that it is not me, my lord, who started it. It was started by Mr. Anurag Thakur. So please catch him first and then take me to task. So it will be very difficult to have that. I think that is why the BJP understands that there is absolutely no legal avenue through which Kunal Kamra can be booked here. If he could have been booked, if he was violating any law, then and there, rather than the vandals, the police could have walked in and stopped it. So this is a very clear signal that BJP, because it is unable to stop the overwhelming satire that it is facing on social media as well as mainstream, forget about the mainstream media, especially after the artificial intelligence called Grok has come in, it is trying to intimidate a few people, a few symbols, so that others don't join that bandwagon. It is a salvage operation that BJP is doing, but it is like trying to catch sand from your hands. The stronger you catch it, the faster the sand will slip out of your hand.
Right, but I wanted to come to Pushpraj quickly. That do you think the BJP will go to the extent of arresting Kunal Kamra? Can they do that? Will they go to that extent?
It all depends on, Niluji, it all depends on whether they want to make an example of him for other cases. I still want to refer all our panelists and our viewers to the fact that just recently there was another case with the Allahabad controversy where they deliberately rigged that controversy because they wanted to they wanted to amend the IT Act. So I'm fairly certain they might use this also to talk about, to amend the IT Act. Parliament is still going on till the 4th of April. They might just use that. That is one part of it. The second thing, which I think that we must all reflect on this collectively, and we would be remiss if we did not speak about the media. Now, I'm genuinely surprised. Why does legacy media only ask ministers and MPs to respond to comedy-based controversies? I mean, I'm genuinely befuddled. Maharashtra has lost over 2 lakh crores worth of projects in the last 1 year. 8 farmers have died by suicide every day for the past 52 months in our state. The state has a debt of 8 lakh crores, 7.9 something lakh crores, when the budget is 7.2 lakh crores. The state is 3rd highest in rapes in India. Why isn't the media interested in any of these issues? Why isn't the media asking the chief minister, who also holds the whole portfolio, to resign, since he's overseen a riot in Nagpur, the murder of a sarpanch in Bid, eve teasing by a BJP minister, and vandalism in India's financial capital, all in a matter of 1 month? I mean, this is something that we really need to think about. What is the legacy media doing? And in fact, I had saved a tweet by ANI's, whoever, I mean, I don't want to take a name here, but I just wanted to show you this tweet. I just bookmarked it. This is a tweet. I don't know if you can see it, by ANI's,
Pushpraj, because it's not visible. Can you just read that out?
All right, I'll read it out. It's by ANI Smita Prakash. She's misspelled confidence. Confidence bole to Shiv Sena. They videoed their own vandalism, knowing very well that they would be charged for destruction of private property, just like they dug up a cricket pitch years ago. Just like Bal Thackeray famously said to BBC, "My boys did it," about Babri demolition. You know, there is almost admiration for what is happening. There is no reflection. There is not even a deference to the constitutional idea of India. There is just deference ki we will do it and damned with whatever you say. This is the kind of behavior that our legacy media shows. What do you do?
Right.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Niluji.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have to leave now, Niluji, because I have another program.
Okay, Pushpraj. I'll come to Rajiv now. Rajiv ji, अब आपसे ही समझना है कि अगर कुणाल कामरा को जेल होती है, मान लीजिए अब उसका एग्जाम्पल बनाना है, जैसा पुष्पराज कह रहे थे कि उनको एग्जाम्पल अगर बनाना है, एग्जाम्पल बना के कुछ वो प्रूव करना चाहते हैं, आप क्या ये बहुत बड़ा सेटबैक होगा आपकी इंडस्ट्री के लिए अगर कुणाल कामरा को जेल होती है? फिर आप लोग सारे स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियंस क्या करेंगे ऐसे सूरत में?
देखिए, सारे स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन, यहाँ पे कोई कम्युनिटी नहीं है, कोई यहाँ पर कोई यूनियन नहीं है। सारे लोग अपने अपने लेवल पे अलग अलग जगह अपना अपना काम करते हैं। तो हम लोग जब किसी का कोई एक्ट पॉपुलर हो जाता है तो हम लोग जानते हैं, अच्छा ये कोई नया लड़का आया है, ये दिल्ली का है, ये बेंगलोर का है, ये बस ऐसे ही जानते हैं, बाकी कुछ ये नहीं है। तो रही बात जेल होने की, इससे पहले भी इन्होंने कुछ लोगों को जेल भेजा है। मैं तो कह रहा हूं कि इन्हें जेल भेज ही देना चाहिए कुणाल को। अगर इन्हें लगता है तो कुणाल को जेल भेज ही दे और कुणाल को ऑटो रिक्शा में बिठा के जेल भेजे। ठीक है। और कुणाल को भी मैं जानता हूं, कुणाल एक बार जेल चला गया ना तो बोले कि बॉस मैं इधर ही ठीक हूं, मेरे को कोई जमानत अमानत का मेरे को कोई टेंशन नहीं, मैं इधर ही ठीक हूं। मैं भाई बाहर आएगा, काम हमको तुम करने नहीं दोगे, कुछ बोलने दोगे नहीं, इधर तोड़ फोड़ करोगे, मैं इधर ही ठीक है। तो वो उधर ही, लेकिन ये लोग उसको जेल नहीं भेजेंगे। अभी कल जो तोड़फोड़ हुई दिखाने के लिए देखिए इन लोगों को कि इतने लोगों ने ये किया और ये किया, नाम सबको जमानत दे करके छोड़ दिया। तो जिन लोगों ने लिटरली लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को डिस्टर्ब किया, तोड़फोड़ की, उनको 1 घंटे में सबको जमानत मिल गई। इसने क्या ऐसा किया है कुणाल कामरा ने जो फांसी पे लटका दोगे? ढूंढ रहे हैं लोग क्या ऐसा किया है। और मैं कहता हूं ये शिंदे साहब कौन है? कौन है शिंदे साहब? आप बताइए मुझे। ये डिप्टी सीएम, ये मिनिस्टर आज इनके हैं, कल दूसरी पार्टी के आएंगे, परसों ये थे, अभी 3 साल पहले तक कौन जानता था शिंदे साहब को? तो कौन है? तो ये लोग कभी भी कोई आकर के अपनी पॉलिटिक्स को चमकाने के लिए किसी एक का कैरियर खराब करेंगे, किसी एक विधा को खराब करेंगे, तो ये बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। मैं अभी भी बोल रहा हूं कि महाराष्ट्र में रिक्शा ही चल रहा है। रिक्शा का मतलब मैंने कहा मैं क्लियर कर दूं, नहीं तो उनको समझ में नहीं आएगा तो बोलेंगे फिर मेरे बारे में बात हो रही है। रिक्शा का मतलब ये है, रिक्शा में क्या होता है, 3 पहिए होते हैं रिक्शे में, आगे 1 होता है, पीछे 2 होते हैं। तो आगे एक सीएम है, पीछे 2 डिप्टी सीएम है, तो रिक्शा ही हो गया ना ये तो। अब सीएम साहब इधर भाग रहे हैं, ये वाला कुणाल कामरे के पीछे भाग रहा है पहिया, दूसरा चक्का बोलता है नहीं मुसलमानों को कुछ नहीं बोलना चाहिए। तो ये तीनों चक्के अलग अलग अपना अपना बैलेंस बना करके चल रहे हैं। और मामला एक्चुअली क्या है, मामला इन लोगों का आपस का है। फर्स्ट शिवसेना, सेकंड शिवसेना। मैंने तो बोला ना कि मिस्टर ठाकरे ने कितनी बार बोला गद्दार वद्दार पता नहीं क्या क्या बोला। तो पॉलिटिकल आदमी को आप टच नहीं करेंगे, एक कॉमेडियन को आप टच करेंगे, तो इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि आप लोगों की मंशा कुछ और है। ये बीच में कुणाल कामरा हिस्सा बन गया है, लेकिन हम लोग बोलते रहेंगे, करते रहेंगे, हंसाते रहेंगे। और देश का एक बहुत बड़ा वर्ग अपने साथ है, ईश्वर खुदा वो अपने साथ में है। हम लोग अच्छी भावना के साथ जीते हैं, भगवान हमारे साथ में है। हम अपने देश की रेस्पेक्ट करते हैं, अपने बुजुर्गों की रेस्पेक्ट करते हैं, अपनी महिलाओं की रेस्पेक्ट करते हैं और देश को हंसाना जानते हैं। हंसाते रहेंगे, करते रहेंगे, बोलते रहेंगे। जितने लोग रोकने की कोशिश करेंगे, रोकने से कोई चीजें रुकती नहीं है।
लेकिन क्या, एक छोटा सा सवाल राजीव जी, कि क्या ये सही बात है कि आप लोग जब कहीं पर कोई वेन्यू बुक करते हैं या कोई इवेंट ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं और अगर वो सरकार के आप सरकार से सवाल पूछते हुए उसमें नजर आते हैं, तो क्या वो वेन्यू को कैंसिल कर दिया जाता है, आपके शोज को कैंसिल कर दिया जाता है? बुकिंग्स में कितनी प्रॉब्लम होती है?
ये कितनी बार हो चुका है, ये सारे सबके सामने है। और बहुत इतना साइलेंटली होता है कि आपको कई बार तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि ऐसा हो रहा है कहीं से। ये लोग काम भी ऐसा करते हैं, सामने से आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि ये काम इन्होंने किया, और फिर आके खड़े हो जाएगा, अच्छा आपके साथ ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है, अरे नहीं 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 ऐसा नहीं, नो 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 नो, आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि यही प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करके बैठा हुआ है। तो ये सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम, तो करने वाले भी यही लोग हैं। हाँ देखिए ना,
हाँ आप क्या दिखा रहे हैं सिद्धार्थ? सिद्धार्थ कुछ दिखा रहे हैं मुझे।
हाँ हाँ
सिद्धार्थ आप पढ़ दीजिए प्लीज। हाँ अनम्यूट कर लीजिए, अनम्यूट कर लीजिए। हाँ
Yeah, this is the latest news by Mojo Story that says BMC, that is the Brihan Mumbai Corporation, has initiated demolition of the illegal
हाँ,
portion of Habitat
yeah.
Studio a day after Sena workers ransacked it. So
Yes,
basically, what it is doing is that there is what the BJP ecosystem is doing is that on a bridge
Yes, yes,
there was a there was an that there was an illegal activity that happened on the bridge. एक पुल के ऊपर किसी ने पॉकेट मारी कर ली। अब क्योंकि पॉकेट मार पकड़ में नहीं आ रहा है तो पुल को ही फांसी पर चढ़ा दिया। चलो पुल को ही फांसी पर चढ़ा देते हैं। So since this again shows the weakness of the BJP government, because if the culprit here is Kunal Kamra, how come Kunal Kamra is still free and you are demolishing the studio in which it happened? It is like hanging a road because some accident happened on the road. You have to catch the culprit who committed the accident. You cannot hang the road. So that goes on to show that the BJP ecosystem is pretty nervous about the whole thing. They don't know. That's why I said it's the grok. It's the grok tornado that has hit BJP ecosystem. It neither can now spit out the lie, neither can it digest the truth or swallow it. That's why it is stuck between the two poles.
All right, I'll just take a concluding comment from Ajay and then we'll wind up the show. Yes, Ajay, over to you.
No, I think all this is well said, Nilu. I think the larger damage is that
Rajiv ji, acha, oh, nikal gaya Rajiv ji. Ha, sorry. Ha, please go ahead.
we might end up, almost mistaking being liberal and tolerant for weakness. The norm they are establishing is that if you are in power and if you are powerful, then that power has to be demonstrated by breaking law and spreading a certain normlessness. That if you are tolerant, if you are civil, if you are equanimous, then it means that you are weak. Similarly, I think they're mistaking for fraudulent activity, like the way Raji was explaining, that they cancel, then they come and pretend, for some kind of intelligence. Common people, I only hope, see through this game and do not try to emulate. This should not become a mass ethic among people, that this is the way to lead a life of cheating and shortchanging others to promote one's own self. As long as that doesn't happen, and as long as people see through, hopefully democracy in India will remain safe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Ajay Gudavarti. Thank you.